Welcome back, Pinball Nerds, to episode 629 of your fifth favorite pinball podcast. My name's Orbital Albert, and on today's show, we're going to be talking all about how Honus Wangers T206 collectible card, the second or third most expensive, depending on who you ask and which sales are private or not, most expensive sports card to have ever sold. Also today, I will be doing video as well. So for everybody watching, hopefully on YouTube land there, if this goes well, I do apologize. I wasn't 100% sure how to make my new Shure MV6 microphone work while recording through the app on my laptop. And if it seems like the video is a little wobbly, it's because it is. You know why? Because it's up on a table, so I apologize. Here, I'll turn. I mean, I don't want you to see my. Oh no, you saw my SpongeBob shorts. I have Luna, Tuna, Elo, and Agar down here, and Draco Franchi over here. Where's this guy? Hi, bud. See, there you go. There, you got to see him. Anyways, this is not a dog podcast. Wouldn't that be cool? I would do a dog podcast. But this is not a dog podcast. Here, let's get rid of these extra pillows I had here. Here, one pillow for Draco Franchi, one for Luna, Tuna, Elo, and Agar, and one for Orby's back. There we go. All right, so today we are here talking all about how rarity in pinball could be what causes the Harry Potter accidental or mistakenly printed derpy dragon, as it might be. We're going to be talking all about how derpy dragon and the mistakenly so-called rumored, I don't know again if Jersey Jack has 100% said this is true or if it's just a maybe or not, but it sounds like, bye Draco, bye Mr. Franchi, it sounds like there's a very, very, very good chance that the 100 accidentally playfields that were put out are going to make that particular Harry Potter playfield the most expensive playfield that we actually have in all of pinball ever. And I believe the machines, especially any CEs, and again, I don't know how many of the arcade editions had it, and I don't know how many of these CEs got it, but it does appear. Let me try turning off this light. I wonder if turning off this light could help my camera. I can see my camera switching all the time. I don't know, but then I look like I'm in the dark here, right? I don't know. Is that better? See, I'm in the shade, but it's not switching all the time. I don't know. I will work on the lighting, guys. I need to work on getting a new camera. I'm only going to be using this particular camera a grand total of one time. Yeah. So I did hear Zach Meny and Dennis talking about on the Pinball Show, talking all about how they don't think ever that the Derpy Dragon version will be the most expensive. I totally 100% disagree, but I don't want to disagree just to disagree and be divisive and be argumentative and be rude. I want to disagree and make a valid point about it. So, believe it or not, I did use a little bit of AI. I constructed the idea of this episode long before I looked at Chat AI at all. Before I looked at Chat GPT, because I always get it wrong, but there you go. So, I don't want this to be a full Chat episode, of course, because I did come up with this idea myself. But I asked Chat what was the 10 most expensive cards of all time and what makes them rare. And the answer to that is pretty straightforward. So let's just go through these quickly, okay, as I'm going here. I should have a little desk. I need to get a desk instead of me just like crouching over here. But I'm trying to make sure you can see me on the camera. I'm trying to make sure that I'm recording into the mic and being close enough to the mic. I know it's not a directional mic, so I have to make sure I'm not turning my head too much or anything. So to all of you pinball podcasters and content creators on YouTube who have to worry about lighting, who have to worry about your what camera speed you're recording at. I'm at 720p, but I think my shutter speed is really bad. So I do want to get a new camera. This is just a test. It will get better. Don't worry. Please subscribe and like. I am getting a better camera. I just got to make sure the camera is working with the Shure and it sounds nice and crisp, because thank you so much to the person. I haven't figured out how I'm going to thank them. And until I do that, I don't know if I'm quite ready to announce. And if they happen to mention, you know, I may have told a couple really close pinball nerds how much I appreciated it. And I'm sure a couple close people to them may know. But this beautiful microphone, let's take a little look here. Wow. Ooh. I need those fireworks sounds, right? I need those. But let's just look at the topmost, because I understand Pokemon very well. I understand comics very well, but probably the thing that I've researched the most and the thing that actually is the most collectible for how much it costs to how much it's worth now. Okay. Yes, there are some sports cards that originally cost like 400,000 and they're now worth 4 million. Okay. So they've 10x. But these cards came for free in cigarette packages, a lot of them. And if we take a look here, what makes them so rare is just not what makes them so valuable is not just that they're rare. So if you had something in pinball that was just super rare, like a one-off plastic that had just like some AI on it, but it was just a one-off plastic, it would be cool, but it would never have high value. We're talking about Eric Menier's masterpiece, Harry Potter. Everybody agrees it's his best shooter. They're working on the code. If they've got David Thiel on sound, one of the top, if not the top dude in sound. So we know the sound's going to get better and better and better. The music in it was already rad AF. The artwork's incredible. The CE artwork is just chef's kiss. For the first time ever, I made that sound. After making that sound like 100 times on the show, for the first time ever, you all got to see me kiss the chef. And listen, if you love listening to me in your car and you don't want to use extra bandwidth, believe me, I can guarantee you the sound quality is always going to be, I believe for now, will be better right here on the Poor Man's Pinball Network. Listen to me on any of your podcatchers or over there on Apple. I think Apple's my second most listened to. So I'm going to make sure that I always try to keep the sound quality good for all the people just driving around their cars listening. But I also want to start working on the Pinball Nerds podcast channel, or I believe will start by having this just on my own channel, which I forget what it is, but you're watching me on it right now, so you know more than I do. Let's get back into what we're talking about, though. So my point is, I didn't know if it'd be 2 years, I didn't know if it'd be 10 years, I didn't know if it'd be 20 years, but I knew at a certain point, from what I know in collectibles, especially with sports cards, that the rarest ones always end up being worth more if the product itself is valuable. Bye, Elwin. We lost both dogs. We started with both. I might have given them treats to come sit by me, just so y'all could say hello to them and see what I go through while trying to record a show like this. If someone pulls in the driveway, the kids come home, that sort of thing. I was recently just watching, and thanks for the shout out, dudes. That was so funny. JBS, of course, Jamie Burchell, friend of the show. I got to be back on his old channel, Wormhole, which, sorry, Jamie, sore spot. Psst, ow. Don't want to get you upset, but yeah, formerly the artist formerly known as the Wormhole. So I was on Wormhole back in the day, and I had a great time. I absolutely loved it. But of course, it's now just called the JBS show. And my favorite part of JBS, he still interviews like arcade owners and stuff like that, and I enjoy those. But what I really love to dig into is when Kale Hernandez, okay, one half of the Electric Bat Pinball podcast, and uh, Retro Ralph, of course, from, well, everybody knows Retro Ralph. He even got to do the video for Harry Potter, right? So uh, they go together and they do, I believe, the Roundhouse. Now, I've been calling them the new Pinball Brat Pack. I think you add in Ian from Nudge, Colin from the Kineticist, those five dudes. I'm an orbiter. You know me, orbiter Albert. I just like to orbit around, okay? But I think those dudes are kind of like the new Pinball Brat Pack. I would say you go back 5 years ago, you would have had Marty Robbins, Ryan C., Jeff Teolis, Zach Meny, you know, even Greg Bone was more so in that when he was much more often. Now he's back with Ken Cromwell on the new Flippin' Out podcast. So it is kind of nice. It's really nice to hear Ken back. It's nice to hear Greg back. I know Greg used to be one of my favorite times was when Zach and Greg used to be on the This Week in Pinball run by TWIP back in the day. And they did this whole thing where they had to sing a song that was related to a pinball machine. And as much as Dennis hates singing from Zach, I love all singing pinball podcasts because something I love almost as much as pinball is like singing and music and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, let's just get into this. I've gone off topic enough here, okay? I got to get a cool desk to put here. That's what I'm missing. I got the microphone now. I got the camera, even though I don't know what's going on with the lighting. I apologize for that. Y'all are going to have strokes out there if you're watching this. I know. I remember I was watching Walt Wood. Shout out to Walt Wood. Don't agree with everything he says. I don't agree with everything any pinball podcaster says, but I respect him as a content creator, and I appreciate that he's doing his best to like just make cool content because he's been in the game for a long time. He's a hell of a better pinball player than I am. He's way better at analyzing code and rules and even shot layout than I am, and he definitely has something to say. The sound quality isn't necessarily incredible. The lighting isn't necessarily great. I mean, in comparison to mine, probably way better than this, but anyways, if you haven't checked out Waltwood, make sure you go check him out. But let's talk about for a second here. Let's talk about for a second why I do actually this one time disagree with Zach and Dennis when they said Zach had got numerous phone calls to switch out people who had the AI art wanted to just get in line and get the regular art. And then I even saw another gentleman on Facebook who was his lifelong dream to get a Harry Potter. And of course, what happens to the poor dude? It comes there and it's smashed and it's the glass is like coming out the bottom and you can see the thing that says do not accept this game. Honestly, me personally, after what I'm about to tell you, I might have just kept it anyways and got new glass. Maybe there was more wreck than the glass. We don't know. So maybe that was smart. And maybe the one he gets replaced with will be one of the 100 with the better playfields. And something I still haven't heard anyone talk about are like 50 of the AI playfields. Are they actually inside the CEs? And like 50s in the arcade or the middle version? Did it even get any? You know what I mean? So we don't know. We are 90 of them in the CEs, or 10 of the, I don't know. If there's only 100 AI playfields and they end up making, I'll say of the lower, let's say all 100 were in the arcade version, the lower version. If any are in the CE version, that's going to be very expensive. But wait, didn't Retro Ralph get the CE version and he has the Derpy Dragon? This is okay. For all you YouTube watchers, this is what Derpy Dragon looks like. He's just on the side there, just chilling like that. Anyways, oh boy, open your eyes. Open your eyes. There we go. Okay. I've had no gummies today. I actually haven't, but I may have had a little creatine or a little bit of the old caffeine from Angry Alpaca. That's right. But number 10 on my list is this is the 10th most expensive sports card to ever sell. Okay. Number 10 is 1952's Mickey Mantle number 311. So this is a specific card. Okay. Why is it valuable? Sold for 5.2 million. It is the most iconic post-war card ever. Mickey Mantle is obviously a top 5, maybe even a top 3 for many people, top 2. Him, Babe Ruth, it's hard to say, right? Some Freudian slip. Some would say Shohei Ohtani, others Mike Trout. There's arguments to be made for all of them. Shohei certainly might be the best since Babe Ruth at. Wait, was it Babe Ruth or Mickey Mantle? I think it was Babe Ruth, who was also a really good pitcher and also a very, very good, very talented hitter at the same time. Could get the knock it out of the park. Sorry, Franchi. I know you. Wait, that wasn't even a pinball reference. I'm allowed those. Yes. I did one show without Christopher Franchi getting mad at me. This is incredible. In 629 shows, I never thought that would happen, but it just did. All right. I'm getting a little too thunder by the beach. Here we go. Okay. So why is it so valuable? This 1952 Mickey Mantle card is so valuable, not only because it's Mantle's first Topps card, so not technically his rookie card, but let's be honest, kind of is thought of by most people. Your first like non-little league card is kind of considered your first true rookie card. So it's kind of his first true rookie card, but also this specific one is a PSA 9 from 1952. Do you know what the chances are of even getting an out of package PSA 9 would have been back then, and nowadays even less so? Honey, Luna Tuna, Elo, and Agar wants to come visit you. Can you move the child gate? This poor, my wife was kind enough to put up the child gate for Draco Franchi, so he didn't jump up and down and knock over my leaning tower of pinball here instead of Leaning Tower of Pisa. That's another pinball reference. Oh, and the other pinball reference. Man, look at these shorties. Okay. Wait, whoa. Too short. Dude, I got on the Rick and Morty shorts to match with my pinball shirt. Sorry, listeners. Hold on, I got to spin around. Oh, I hit my head on the light, guys. Okay, can you see back here? You probably can't hear me. I just showed everybody an OG That's right. It used to say Ace, ACE. Now it says half an A and an E. On the back is this an OG London, Ontario Pinball League shirt. That's right. So shout out to all my London pinball nerds. All right, let's get back into it. So what makes this so rare? The fact that it's a high grade, it's a PSA 9, and also on top of that, that Mickey Mantle's an incredible player, and it's his rookie card. So that's the most sought after card. Okay, let's move on to number 9. This is the exquisite LeBron James RPA. So RPA, for those of you who don't know much about sports cards, is just a rookie patch auto. That means it's his rookie card, but also there is a patch on there, usually a game worn patch. And if the said game worn patch is from his rookie year, or God forbid his rookie game, then it's worth even more. And then if he actually held said card and he wrote his autograph on it, there you go. You get an RPA. So rookie patch auto. R is for rookie, patch is for, like I just explained, part of his jersey being on there. The most expensive part of his jersey by far is the logo, man. So the little NBA logo patch is by far the most expensive if you want to get a jersey. So there we go. There we go. Done and done. So why is this RPA so expensive? It sold for $5.2 million, tying the 10th most expensive. LeBron James obviously is the GOAT. And then over and above that, okay, Jordan, yes, but LeBron, Jordan, arguable. Also, Exquisite is the most premium brand. So that card brand is the most rare and it is the most expensive, and therefore making it super duper rare because there's only one of these on planet Earth. There's only one that is a specialty patch like that. That's his rookie card. That's been signed. And I'm assuming this is probably a 10. Wow. Okay. LeBron James RPA. Number 8, National Treasures, Luka Doncic. Same thing, Logo Man 1 of 1 auto, sold for $4.5 million in 2021. Next, number 7 is a 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle RPA PSA 10. So this is even arguably more rare because it's a PSA 10 from 1951 as opposed to the last one we spoke about, which was a PSA 9 from 1952. It is considered the true rookie card of Mickey Mantle, like we said. The other one is the first Topps rookie, but not the true one. Also in a gem mint. There's only a few of these in existence that we know of. So it's ultra vintage Mickey Mantle, obviously top 5 baseball players of all time. And then on top of that, it's a PSA 10, which there would be very, very, very few of those, like it said, on planet Earth, probably 4 or 5 in existence. All right, next, number 6, a much more modern card. This is the 2020 Flawless LeBron Triple Logo Man. So this has not 1, not 2, but 3 Logo Mans on it. This card is the only ever card with 3 different LeBron James Logo Man patches. It has 1 patch from each of the following teams, which makes it more unique. It's not just 3 patches from when he was on the Cavs or the Lakers, right? It's 1 patch from when he was on the Cavs, 1 patch from when he was with Miami Heat, and 1 patch from being on the Lakers. So this makes it a very true, extremely rare 1 of 1, like true legit 1 of 1. So massive media hype also led up to this. It sold for $5.52 million. Little piece of paper sold for $5.52 million. So you think pinball people are rich? No. Collectibles people are, like, that's a different level. When you can spend $5 million, and any of those dudes buying $5 million, that's not their first piece of paper. They obviously own lots of other collectibles and probably mostly sports collectibles. And therefore that was, yes, probably their most expensive, but like, that's just when we complain about $2,000 for like a working topper that has stuff that moves on it and gives you an extra game mode. And, I get it's a little unreasonable, especially when we came from, I remember being in pinball when I believe even 10 years ago, weren't stern toppers like $3.99 to $4.99 typically? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments below, guys. I've never been able to say that before, but I love saying that now. I want to interact with you guys on YouTube. Eventually, once I get enough people on my Living with Albert YouTube channel, I think that's what it is. Make sure you subscribe. I will be talking about more than just pinball. I'll be talking about craft beer. I'll be talking about collectibles. A show that I'm working on right now is I know the man who owns the single largest collection of new in box, like brand spanking new. Okay, brand spanking new in box pinball machines. And this gentleman, well, I'm working on it. I haven't got a response from him yet. I'm not quite going to be calling to be that much level of investigative journalist. By the way, if I still did the nerdies, I will still do the nerdies, the 6th annual nerdies. When I do the nerdies, our own Pinball Nerds podcast award show, I will be specifically considering very strongly, because I'll still look at Jason Knapp's stuff over at Knapp Arcade. He does great work, and there's lots of other people doing investigative journalism. But I would say primarily, Colin, you're going to be most likely the front runner to win that best investigative journalism piece of the year. Looking into that AI art, reaching out, you got to have some cojones, huh? You got to have a little bit of you got to, like, for me, I would be so afraid to reach out to Jersey Jack. If I thought he even listen to 1 second of, of my show, I would be nervous as hell. Never mind reaching out and contacting him. Like, I mean, I guess I haven't met him in person. I haven't been invited to the factory before. Don't worry, I'm not going to be a nut bar and lose my mind today. I've crashed out once this year, guys. Do I not get one crash out per year? I don't know. Anyways, it was a baby crash out. It wasn't like last year's. Geez, my Stern rant, that was a way bigger crash out. This year's crash out was like, yeah, I crashed out a little, but yeah, it was a mini crash out. It was I mean, I was kind of hit by some meteorites, and I had some other pinball podcasters hurtling missiles at me, and I should have deflected better and just not brought it up. I should have just let it roll off the duck's back. Ooh. But I didn't. But I'm trying to get better at that. So let's go. Let's not be divisive. Let's move on. We did number 5 here. The Mike Trout Superfractor Auto 1 of 1. Again, are you getting it? It's the rarity. 1 of 1 means rarity. There's only one on planet Earth, right? So again, rarity. Number 4, the Gaudy Baith Rube. Baith Rube? Baith Rube? Rube Baith? No. Babe Ruth. There you go. Third tries the charm. So the PSA 9 Babe Ruth Gaudy. This came up from Gaudy. I don't think they're they do throwbacks to Gaudy still, but I don't think they're actually around as a card company anymore. Like Topps is kind of still around, right? Sort of. They got bought out, but okay, 1993 Babe Ruth Gaudy. Only one exists in a PSA 9. This is the only one. Okay, so $7.2 million, 1933 Babe Ruth. Number 3 on the list, 1914 Babe Ruth PSA 1. So this is pre-rookie card. This is it says it's his rookie card from his minor days with Baltimore. Only 10 copies are known to exist. And believe it or not, the PSA 1 looks to be the highest graded ever. A PSA 1. I mean, a PSA 1 means the card is basically falling apart. It's in tatters, okay? It looks worse than my underwear on December 24th when my wife hasn't got me any new underwear for a whole year and they're falling apart by the little... No, underwear and socks are the two things I actually spend a decent amount of money on because that's important. You don't want your dogs to be barking, and you don't want your boys to be, crowded. You don't want them to be crowded, right? You want to have space. You want to be able to move around. All right, we've gone off topic. I'm trying to keep it PG. I've sworn 0 times today, so I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let's keep her moving. Number 2 is the T206. This is arguably the most famous sports card of all time. The Honus Wagner. I know you're thinking, Albert, you've been talking about Babe Ruth. Where are you going here? You're talking about all these great baseball players. You're talking about Babe Ruth. You're talking about Mike Trout. You're talking about LeBron James. You're talking about Mickey Mantle. You're talking about Luka Doncic. LeBron James. You're talking about the GOAT. But you're not talking about... I'm not going to say he's mediocre because he was a very, very good baseball player. But he didn't even play long enough to really be full legendary status. So why on earth is number 2 of the top 10 most expensive sports cards of all time? Why on earth would it be Honus? Honus Wagner? So to those of you who don't know sports cards, let me just go on. Can I go on a tiny Orby rant? Just Franchi, fast forward like 2 minutes. I'm sorry, I'm going to go off topic for a second. So there's all sorts of stories of how this went, but back then, Honus Wagner was very, very, very anti-tobacco. I don't know if he had friends or family members that died of cancer. I don't even know if they knew the two were related. Maybe just didn't like the yucky smell. And for any of you who have smelled like I was in Holland once and I couldn't find any ciggies. And I was partying like a rock star there. So I bought a pack of frickin' what's that most American? Marlboro. I got the Marlboro Reds. Oh my God. I end up looking at it. There's equivalent to like 9 of my Dumouriez or like whatever cigarettes I smoked here, the Canadian ultralights that I smoked. There's the equivalent of like 9 ciggies in one of these Marlboro. I'd be like filling your whole mouth up like, oh, like you'd have to have 9 Canadian cigarettes to equal 1 Marlboro Red. So that was disgusting. I was smoking like a puff and putting it out, and then it just tastes gross by the end. But anyways, don't smoke ciggies is where we're going with this. But the reason why a guy like Honus Wagner his card got so famous and so popular wasn't because he was better than Babe Ruth. It's not because he's better than Mickey Mantle. It's not even because he's arguably better than Shohei Ohtani or Mike Trout or even LeBron. He's definitely not the LeBron James or Michael Jordan of basketball. The reason why this Honus Wagner card's so expensive is because he immediately contacted them and told them immediately he does not want any more printed. So they only printed a couple dozen, or they don't really know how many exactly, but not many got out of the factory. And even less of them are in people's hands here now, still today, being graded or anything like that, right? So if we take a look at this, why is it so expensive? Well, the Honus Wagner T206 is known as the Mona Lisa of cards. Only 50 to 60 have known exist. I was pretty close there. Wagner allegedly refused inclusion in tobacco cards, making them extra ultra rare. As well, it's been reverbed, not reverbed. It's been reverbed over generations and generations. Come on up here, buddy. You can come up here. Oh, Draco just came in from a nice walk. Come here, bud. Oh, look. Drop Target Danielle brought me a treat. Here you go. There you go. Tuna, come over here at this one. Oh, there he is. Look at this guy. You never see him with short hair, but we had so many ticks this year. We actually got him cut short, and also for the summer, just for the heat. So he is a English sheepadoodle. Pretty cool, huh? Anyways, there's my boy Franchi, named after my favorite pinball personality. He used to be on a show called Saps. I don't want to say my favorite pinball artist because I don't want to upset Zombie Yeti or Kevin O'Connor or all those awesome artwork like the Dune artwork. The Dune artwork's growing on me. We used to use this term in pinball as a joke. Oh, it's growing on me. It's growing on me. Like it was like a freaking, like it was like, I don't know, mold growing on cheese or something like that. Or if we had to be kinder, if it was like lactobacillus or some type of pediococcus or some type of like souring agent other than a yeast on a beer. Like, wow. Sometimes things grow on you and they get better. And sometimes they get old and moldy. Is the cheese old and moldy or am I old and moldy? A little bit of both, a little bit of both. It's so weird seeing myself while I talk because normally I never do that. But I did notice during COVID, oh, sorry, I said the C word, guys. Over here, the gray in my beard like started coming in right here. And then finally, just this year, it's like mitigating across the bottom. So, because I don't mind having gray in my beard. I don't even mind that. I have a decent amount of gray hair. What I don't like is when it's uneven and you just got a blotch here. I'm like, yo, can we just fill out the whole bottom with gray? If we're going to go gray, just give me the gray trough, you know? Men past like 45 have at least the gray trough. Just hook me up with the gray trough. I don't like it to be uneven. I don't like artwork to be uneven. Like that jarring artwork with, and the funny thing is, after I use the term jarring, Dennis on the Eclectic Gamers Pinball podcast used the exact same term. I think he was more so referring to the white space between the red. But when you have two pinball podcasters both agreeing and using such a rare term like jarring, I think we'd all have to agree. It's stunning and yet jarring at the same time. Can it be both? I think so. Look at me. Oh, I went the wrong way because of the camera. Okay. Wow. Probably should have combed my hair before we started, but that's okay. I got a little Conan hair going on where it like jiggles up there. All right. Oh, number one on the list. That's right. Here we go. The top card is the 1952 Mickey Mantle SGC 9.5. And SGC grades a lot harder than PSA, so arguably an SGC 9.5 is better, although maybe not worth more than a PSA 10, but sometimes some would say harder to get. So it's not quite a 10, but wow, I'd love to see that card crossed over, because if that card went over to PSA and it got a 10, I don't think it would, but it could. If it somehow did, it would go up from the $12.6 million it sold at, kind of at the height of COVID, so that's probably partially the reason why. I don't think if it sold right now, it'd get $12.6 million. This 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle card 311. We talked about this card before, but we talked about it in a much lower grade. To get it in a 9.5 is just incredible. And I think we can all agree what makes it incredible is just how rare it is and how rad it is. So, computer closed, laptop closed. The thing that we can all learn as pinball nerds is that what makes something collectible is partially the rarity and how great it is. Will Galactic Tank Force ever be worth more than the Harry Potter CE? Probably not. even though Galactic Tank Force, again, Franchi, awesome artwork, and you know, because of many other factors, it's not thought of as an awesome machine. Harry Potter's already got a much better status, and Harry Potter's only going to go up from here as the artwork gets better. So my suggestion is, and I did ask Chat disagrees with me. I think it will be around the year 2029. I think it will take 3 to 4 years. Chat said by the year 2027, just 2 years from now, arguably a year and a half from now, we're almost at, well, we're in the seventh month of the year, July, right? My birthday month, just a couple weeks away. So if I would say right now, all the people that are trying to switch out their machines, I would say if it's going to bug you and you have a personal vendetta against AI, do it. But just know you could be turning, and if you're only going to keep it for a year or two, for the next year or two, I could see the non AI art reselling for more money. But I think come the year 2027, or maybe Chat's more correct, the year 2029, the more rare something is, if it's also great. So just like when we were looking there at Honus Wagner, he wasn't the best. All of those other players are arguably higher up in their ratings or the rankings of how good they are in their sport. But he was good enough, and it's super duper duper rare, and it has a cool story beside it. The Jersey Jack thing with all the AI and being the first pinball machine with proven AI in it and so on and such forth, just with all the coverage it's got, it's going to be a neat, interesting story. You and I listening to this or watching this and talking about this will know about this. New people are going to come into pinball next year and the year after and the year after. And just like how new people came into pinball 2 or 3 years ago and they were shocked by how, they lost money for the first time on, say, a new pinball in box price or something like that. And many of us who had been in the game for a while weren't. We could kind of see this coming, the forest through the trees, if you will. The same way, it's a little bit short-handed or short-sighted to assume that if you, just because you have Derpy Dragon, okay, it's so fun doing that face, but just because you have Derpy Dragon doesn't mean that it's less valuable. And I would say, yes, right now it's less valuable. But if you can just hold on, get some diamond hands and hold on to that sucker for a couple years, it's going to skyrocket. I truly believe at the very least, again, Chat and I disagreed. I think it will be worth more than a Supreme pinball machine, which arguably sell for between 20 to 40, depending on where they got it, how they got it, that sort of thing. If someone right now had a new unboxed Supreme, it would be worth more than any other pinball machine on planet Earth. If 15 to 20 years from now, someone has a new unboxed, documented Derpy Dragon, it's got to be guaranteed to have the AI inside it, and it's never been opened, and it can be proven it's never been opened, that will be the most expensive pinball machine of all time. Unless someone comes out with, like, who knows, maybe Tilt Amusements. I've seen, the roof of the, I've seen the roof of the barn there out at Tilt Amusements, and Trent's taken us for the walk around, and I've seen this, like, the number one this, like, he's got so many different Sterns new in box still from back in the day, which I assume they still exist. So someone probably does have a new in box Supreme. I don't know who that is or where it is. That might always be worth more. But right now, if I had to use my crystal ball, I would guess that even just 5 to 10 years from now, the most expensive pinball machine. And I don't have to make money off pinball. I absolutely love just talking about pinball. Mostly I love playing pinball. I like doing these shows for you guys. I like the interactions. And when I took a couple weeks off, one of the things I missed the most was usually within 72 hours of doing a pinball show, I get messages from 3 to 5 people just saying what they liked, sometimes what they didn't like. Sorry if you can hear my dryer finishing there and that sound going off. But you know what? With my non-directional mic, you might not hear it as much. It's just distracting me and my ADHD. It's not distracting you. But I truly believe that if you're someone who really wants to make money, if you want, I don't think you should use pinball as an investment. It makes the water murky when you try to make money from your side hustle. It really does. As soon as you become like a mod maker, or as soon as you become like, where you're like working with the company, it kind of starts to feel more like a job. And this show from time to time will start to feel like a job, and I'll take a couple weeks off. And I make so little money from it. It's not really like I don't have a Patreon. I don't sell any t-shirts. I probably should. They look nicer than this one. Come on. I do want to do a Patreon possibly perhaps in the future, but I'm just kind of figuring out the whole process again and getting back into it. What I want to tell you is that if you're someone who really wants to make money or at least save money, I would highly recommend, if you have the space, if you have to rent, like if you live in downtown New York City or LA or something, and you have to rent a storage unit to do this, you will absolutely probably lose money on this, and I wouldn't recommend it. But if you have the space, if you live out in the country or even live in the burbs, and you have space for just one pinball machine as an experiment to see if you can make money, I would honestly reach out and try to get the best priced new in box Derpy Dragon and let it sit there in the corner and let it cook. Because I truly believe at the year, again, chat disagreed with me, more of a professional than me, arguably. But do you want to choose AI? You want to choose Albert? AI, Albert, AI, you choose. I think it will be worth easily 75K. 75K by 2040. I think it will be easily worth 30K by 2035. I think by 2030 you're looking at easily a 20ish. I think it's gone up 25%. So you're talking 5 to 7% minimum per year that it's going to get, that it just sits there new in box. Used prices might actually be closer to what I'm saying, to be honest. 2040, if you had it new in box, I wouldn't be shocked if it'd be 150K. That's on the high end. It depends how many people listen to me. If only one person listens to me and holds it till 2040, like if you're listening to this right now and you're anywhere within your, you don't have to be a male. It doesn't have to be a male in your 40s, but male, female, anyone. And you actually don't use a credit card to do this. Don't use your home equity line of credit or a second mortgage, because even that 4 to 6% you'd be paying, it'd be very hard to break even on it. But if you have money just sitting in the bank that you're not going to put into stocks, especially, I think this would be more fun. I personally, if my wife and I sold our farm or sold the house, I would go out and honestly consider purchasing 3 to 5 of these, because I think you could sell one in 2035. You could just have diamond hands and hold on, probably get 5 times your money. What other product, like you would have to buy a house, or you'd have to take a lot of risk with a car. You'd have to take a lot of risk with putting in, like, to get that type of return, you'd have to put almost 100K into stocks to get that type of return, and that type of year is almost guaranteed. And I really think, and again, I am not a financial investor, so please asterisk, hashtag not a financial investor, or sorry, not a financial services advisor anymore. I used to work for one of the top 3 banks in Canada, but I don't do that anymore. What I'm just saying is that if I had like 250K saved up for retirement, and like 200K of that's in like fairly like medium risk stocks to low risk stocks, so I could edge out 3 to 5% per year, I would take a small clump of that, talk to your partner, or if you live on your own, cool, do your own thing. But I would buy 2 or 3 new in box derpies before the 100 are gone. If you could afford 5 of those, if you're a distro, I would buy 5 of the Derpy Dragons, and I wouldn't let anyone buy them. I would say, I'm sorry, unless you need money for your family, like for food tomorrow, like, you know what I mean? Like the mortgages bill is coming up, and you're going to get, the property taxes are due or something, and you're going to lose your house. I would honestly, like, I would just sit on them, because they are going to go through the roof. Now, maybe, I'm hashtag don't want to be divisive, when it's possible, when Zach Meny was saying, oh no, they won't go up in value. Oh no, they won't be worth more. If I were him, I would be saying the exact same thing, because I would want the maximum number of people to contact me and be like, oh, can I please trade in my AI one for a non-AI one? Sure, yeah, no problem. And I would just hoard them. I really, really, really would. And I know a lot of distros won't want to do that. They'd rather move product when they can. But for me personally, the gentleman that I'm going to talk about on an upcoming show, who I have very, 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 there's a very good chance he owns the most, even more than Trent Augustine, Zach Meny, and Mad Pinball combined. Okay, more than Nitro had in the '90s. All right, this is more than like Palladium. This is more than, what's that family-run entertainment center in the States that with the 2 names? Not Bob and Doug. That would be a Canadian one. But more than any large. More than any large family run entertainment center could even dream of doing. Oh my God, guys, I have to end it because my battery's getting low. So here's what I will say. This is the first time in 629 shows I've ever said, if you can afford it, I think you would make money on this. This is a unicorn event. This is a once in a lifetime. I honestly, I don't own one. If I owned one, I was saying this to try to make money, I could understand you guys saying, okay, maybe I'm not telling the truth. Hold on, I've got to plug this in. Oh boy, I forgot about keeping it charged. Charles in charge. Wait, that's not how that song goes. This is supposed to be the one show I don't sing, guys. And then, of course, now that I have a chord string across here, Draco Franchi's going to want to run here and knock down everything I have set up on my tower here. But let's just end the show by saying this. If, and only if, you have extra moolah sitting around, this would be the one time I would take the chance. Could I be completely wrong? And could Derpy Dragon go to $0 and no one wants it? Sure, but I'm probably not. I think arguably everybody would agree that the X and Y axis of which one is worth more money, non-derpy or derpy, will change as we get more of them out there. Once we get to 1,000 arcade editions that are non-derpy, and then we have 100 that are derpy, it's a 10-to-1. Probably people still, yeah, they'll sell for around the same. Once you get to 10,000 made, or God forbid they get to 15 or even 20,000 made, that means that these playfields are a 1 in 100 to a 1 in 150 to a 1 in 200. That means 0.5% of them are this uniqueness that is a big pinball conversation about AI. And I think without a doubt, it will by the year 2030 be much, much, much more expensive than the other version. So again, if you're only going to keep it for a year or two, yeah, I would probably strongly consider just grabbing the other AI one because the Derpy Dragon, although I think will be worth more eventually, might be harder to sell for now. And when I was thinking about that, I was trying to think of like a good comparison to explain that. Well, the solar right above me, the solar power that we have on our house. Houses with solar power take longer to sell, but houses with solar power sell for more money, especially if those especially if they're still relevant. If your solar panels are like 30 years old and they're only producing at like 20%, they're almost more maintenance than they are, giving back power. No, but like for the first 15 to 20 years that you own a house, like our solar power system is worth around 40K. We had a good chunk of that subsidized. Thank you, Nova Scotia government. We didn't do it because we're tree loving hippies. We did it, and we didn't do it just because I'm half Dutch and I want to save money. We did it all of the above. We want to provide back into the grid. Yes, it gives us that warm feeling of, oh yeah, you're helping out. Sure, cool, nice. But we did it, I'll say, primarily because in the winter, being here in Canada, our costs are through being so far north. I mean, David Dennis is probably the only pinball content creator further north than me, at least in Canada. And shout out to David Dennis, by the way. Go listen to the most recent Silver Ball Chronicles with him and Ron. It was incredible. I've gone to 42 minutes. I've gone too long. This is all to say, if ever once you were going to purchase a new unboxed pinball machine and expect to make money, because you usually shouldn't, there's very, 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 very few other toys or collectibles on planet Earth that aren't limited edition, that aren't limited to 50 or limited to 100 or limited to, like you saw with the sports cards, one of one. There's very, very, very few collectibles on planet Earth that are guaranteed almost to go up in value once you buy them. And pinball machines were that for 2 years, just for 2 years, as were cars, as were houses, as were almost anything you could put money into went through the roof. Hell, toilet paper went through the roof. But it doesn't mean toilet paper is a collectible. And it doesn't mean you're always going to make money on toilet paper. In fact, you probably lose money on it as it gets brown. You know what I mean? All right. Here's the thing. If you want to make money from time to time or prevent losing the most amount of money, simply play a pin before you pay. Play before you pay. I'm going to get a play before you pay sign and put it up there on my derpy alligator. But no, play before you pay. This is the way. This isn't just a Mandalorian saying. Obviously, this is a pinball saying. And if you play it before you pay, a few things will happen. You have the opportunity to make sure you want it before you buy it. But most importantly, arguably, you'll see if the prices are going up or down or stabilizing, and you'll choose if you'd prefer to buy it. I mean, if the prices are fairly stable between new and used, you might just buy new. If it's only 500 to $1,000 it's losing. But if it's losing thousands of dollars 6 months later, 7 months later, by the time you've got to get in quite a few games, I don't mean go out and play 1 or 2 games. I mean, I would play at least 10 to 15. Some games I've played 20 times and I was like, I don't know. And right around the 25th or 30th game, you're like, okay, you're figuring out the shots. Okay, you're understanding the rules. Okay, you know how to start a multi-ball. And for a guy like me with a really bad memory, it does take those extra few games. There might be some people who play 5 to 10 games and they know for sure, like, wow, I love this, or wow, this isn't for me. But I would encourage all of you to play before you pay. And over and above that, really make sure you can afford it in your budget, understanding the fact that there's a good chance when you go to sell it, especially if it's new in box, it might lose a little bit of money. No one wants to buy and sell a pinball machine that's going to lose like 3, 4, or 5 grand. But if we buy a CE and we lose 1,000, that's fine. Especially if you own it for a whole year and got 5, 6, 700 games on it. Hell, I know my Guardians of the Galaxy, we got 600 games in the first summer we owned it, like the first 2 months we owned it, we got like 600 games. So like, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's with me restarting. If I didn't get to 100 million on ball one, I restarted on Galaxy. Just what I like to do. But anyways, this has been a blast. This has been fun. It's a lot of work having to set up this and having to worry about this. And so I apologize to anyone listening if it was slightly annoying. I'm going to try to make sure I always keep the listeners who are listening directly through the Poor Men's Pinball podcast, remembering, thinking about you guys and making sure it sounds good and the quality is great. Thank you again to the awesome person who got me this Shure MV6. And until next time, pinball nerds, remember to eat, sleep, and breathe. Jersey Jack's Derpy Dragon Playfield.